Flossstube, Stephanie here, Ms. Oh So Crafty. Today is Friday, January 19th, 2018. How is everyone doing? I wanted to pop in today and share my plans for the year of WIPs. So today is essentially going to be a WIP parade. It's not my regular Flossstube update. If you're looking for that, I'll see you in a couple weeks when I do my January wrap-up. So what I'm going to do is basically show you all my WIPs, and I may talk a little bit about each one. I don't know if I'm going to do start dates, or I'll definitely talk about how much time I think it's going to take to complete them, and you can tell me if I'm crazy or not. So I guess we'll start with the highest finish priority, and we'll go from most likely to finish to least likely to finish, or something like that. So this is the Made in the Unicorn by Vermilion Stitchery. Sorry for all the part threads. Here she is. So this one is, as you can see, it's almost done. What I need to do is finish up the back stitch, and some of it is very slow going because it's done in the metallic. Do you see that in the unicorn's harness there? That's backstitched in gold blending filament. Yeah, fun. It does look really pretty though, doesn't it? Yeah, and then there's other things. I have to backstitch her face, and actually I did one of her eyes already. You see that eye? There's tons of backstitch on there, but you can hardly even see it because this is 36 count fabric. And the stitches are so tiny, but you know, it is what it is. She looks pretty, I guess, anyway. My plan for this is to take it out in a couple days here, like before January ends, basically, and give it 5 days. Hopefully that will be enough time to finish. What do you think? 5 days? Can I do it? So that is intended to be a January finish goal. And then I have, oh yeah, and I started that one back in like 2007 or something. It's like my oldest WIP. My second finish goal is King Arthur's Court by DMC. Try to clean it up a little bit. So here's my current progress. Too many dangling threads. There we go. I did work on this 5 days in January so far. This was the first thing I picked up after I finished all my crazy serial starting, and I worked on page 3 here. And I did everything except for her faces basically in the back stitch. I put in the gold metallic. You see that sparkly gold on Merlin's scepter and around Arthur's shield and his crown, of course, and then in the illuminated letters and the vines over there by the crown and everything, and the moon and the stars in the sky. I guess I did that one little bit of backstitch, those stars. I felt like I may as well, since I had the chronic on my needle. I'm using 002 HL high luster, and very happy with how it looks on there. And I did the background pattern, those little squares. It's like a wallpaper thing. There's going to be like diagonal long stitches all across it, so just like in between them. I think the letters turned out really nicely. The K and the A. The A stretches into page 4 a little bit, the last page. And because I had another day in my rotation, I decided to work on page 4 a little bit. So what I did is I just took, all the threads were parked right about here at the midline, so I just took what I had parked and I worked it up until I ran out of it, or ran out of stuff to stitch with it. So I got Lancelot's chest done and started on his cape, where it wraps around his chest. And I did a bit of Guinevere's sleeve and stuff, working up to her shoulder. And then I worked with the red threads that I had parked over here on the flag, so stitched up a little bit, up a little bit. Yeah, and I did clean up the bottom a little bit, some of the threads I had parked. Not all of them, but I'm getting really excited about this piece now that I can sort of see it coming to an end, and my plan is to give it 9 more days this year, and hopefully that will be enough time to finish. What do you think? Is that crazy? I think what I'm going to do is work on the bottom next. I will spend a couple days putting in the gold metallic and doing all the back stitch, and then it will be just up to finish page 4 and do the back stitch on the top. I think I can do it. So I'm hoping to finish that in February or March. And this was started in last year in January. It was my New Year, New Start. So it's just about a year old. It's a baby, relatively speaking, but it is one of my older WIPs. Okay, my next finish goal type thing is, well, I'll show you my Boo Club project. So this is something I started. I'll insert a pic of what it's supposed to look like when it's done. I'm stitching this on dirty linen and Belfast. I started this in January, gave it 2 days, and that was enough time to finish the spooky and do a bunch of border and sort of start 2 more charts. The eek and the spider line as well. So I'm doing this in a mix of DMC and hand-dyed threads. Like the purple is Weeks Taffeta, I think it is, and the orange I think is gassed sweet potato or something. I can't remember. But yeah, I'm using the DMC subs for the white and the black. Apologies, Bendy Stitchy, but I won't be buying any Weeks mascara. DMC 310 works for me. So this is like a super fun stitch, and it stitches up really quick, even doing X by X. So my plan for this is to work on it every month and basically, do a word a month and finish it by the end of the year. So my plan is to give it 16 more days, I think. Let's see. Yeah, 16 more days. Would that be enough time to finish? I think so. We'll see. Oh, sorry for the shaking. All right, moving on to my Mill Hill piece. So I did work on this 3 days in January, and they weren't like the greatest stitchy days. The first day, all I did was over here, this little bit here, the snow and the steps and more snow. That's the start of the needlework shop. I will insert a pic. And then on the second day, I started the general store. That's this one. And I also started the cathedral. That's the one with the little tree here. Ooh, sorry. So the cathedral is the one with the little tree business, and then next door to that, I started the bakery. That's the little shrubbery on the bakery. So those are the pieces that I will attempt to finish in 2018. The one I got the biggest start on is my first focus for finish, hoping to finish it by March. So there's my start. General store, I will insert a pic. So this one was kind of interesting. It had like this weird black hole on the porch, and I basically got rid of it. I extended the background to erase it, and I missed a little bit, like right there. It needs to be extended with the darker blue, but yeah, so that's basically like the first, that's the porch kind of the general store, and this is the door right here, and that's the beginning of the roof on the porch, and then there's going to be another 2 levels, but they're they're like short little levels, they're not, because all the buildings are the same size. They're all like 5 inches square, so yeah. really looking forward to working on this again in next month. Yeah, that'll be fun. And my plan for that is to give it, let's see, Mill Hill Village, 29 more days this year. Will that be enough time to finish those 4 houses? We will see. Okay, moving on to April. My plan for April is I'm hoping I'll be able to finish this by then. This is the Bright and Beautiful Spring Bird that is the tier. A little sort of pick. Here's my progress. I started this during Mania last year, and I spent a couple days on it and did about a quarter of the chart. So I'm hoping that I can finish it. You know, let's see. The time I've allotted for it is 14 days, none of which have been executed yet. So we'll see. 14 days will be enough to finish this. It is part of a series, but I'm not gonna run off and start the next one. It's just I don't like having series that are kind of like undone, if you know what I mean. But what can you do? I got all these WIPs, and I can't be starting a million things. So, let's see. Moving into May. So my plan for May. Oops, I forgot something. I'll go get it. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So here is my very small start of Joan Elliott's Water Goddess. I will insert a pic. So this is stitched on Whirlpool, Belfast by Picture This Plus. Yeah, so that's like 100 stitches or something in her waist area. I started at the middle. And you may ask, well, why did you bother starting this if you're only going to put in 100 stitches? Well, it's not like me, but I started this Guess What event in the Cross Stitch Finish Line group, so the idea was to like stitch 50 stitches and post a picture and have people guess, and then stitch a few more and have them guess, and so forth, so yeah. But then I never touched it again the rest of the year, and that is just like, that to me is kind of like unacceptable. I mean, what was the point of like starting it just to like have it sit around, you know, and not work on it? So I'm planning to give it 4 days this month in January, and hopefully make a decent start on it in those 4 days. And my plan for this is to give it 30 days this year, and hopefully that will be enough time to finish. We will see. So I am hoping to finish that one by May. And then the next big like finished target I have is the Enchanted Mermaid by Mirabilia. This is stitched on my own hand-dyed Monaco. And it's upside down. I will insert a pic. So this is like her fin, where her knees would be, where they curl around. She's got her like the end of the fin tucked under her. So this was, I started it in last November, a few months ago, and worked on it like 3 or 4 days or something for the Mervember event. That was fun. But again, didn't touch it again last year. But I got a pretty decent start on this, so I don't feel so bad about this one. And my plan for Enchanted is to give her 27 days. Will that be enough time to finish? We shall see. And hopefully I'll be able to finish her by July. Okay, this one. This is something I started in January. It's called The Lord's Prayer by Stony Creek. I will insert a pic. Here's my start. I'm stitching it on Aged Ecru, hand dyed by Stony Creek. I think it's Monaco. And I started at the middle basically, and I did some of the verse in backstitch, and then I did one of the band patterns, which is like flowers, pink, dark pink, and yellow pistils. I don't know about the yellow because I feel like it's hard to see on my piece, so I don't know. I'll stitch more, but I might have to frog those yellow flower centers and redo it in something a bit darker. This was a lot of fun. I mean, it was only, I worked on it like not even 2 days, 1.5 days or something. And I loved working on it. So my plan for this is to give it 25 days, which one I've already has passed, so 24 more days to finish. Can I do it? We shall see. It does stitch up pretty fast because, you know, all the back stitch, the words go quickly. Okay, and then in September, my plan is to finish this one. This is a Trick or Treat by Nora Corbat. And I started this last year in like September maybe. It's stitched on 32 count opalescent Balfus in the Midas Touch colorway from Vintage Silk Weaver. Super sparkly, kind of wild, but you know, I thought it would work for her. So basically I started with her waist and stitched most of her skirt, a little bit of the bodice. My plan for this is to give it 20 days, and hopefully that will be enough time to finish. We'll see. I definitely want to have her finished by Halloween, though. No doubt about that. So I'm hoping to have her finished by September. Maybe even get her framed, you know, by October. Uh-oh. My list is, there we go. Okay. Moving on to, oh yeah, Spooky House. So this one I started in January. It was my New Year, New Start. I actually have the pattern right here so I can show you what it looks like. It's supposed to look like. Spooky House, X's and O's, Sandra Parlow. Take a look at that gorgeous detail. You see the tree? That tree is a woman. And the little figures in the window. Let me out. The house has a face up here. See that? The mouth and the eyes. This one is a lot of fun. So I'll show you my WIP. This is stitched on Thunderstorm Belfast from Vintage Silk Weaver. Oh, and I got it upside down. Sorry. There we go. Yeah, so basically what I did is I started in the middle, which was like up here, and worked sort of down. This is the lattice fence, and these are some windows and stuff, and this bit over here is the bit starts the arch that goes over the door of the house, the front door. It's so patchy because there's a lot of metallics to go in there, and I don't have any of the acrylic yet, and also there's a lot of blends to be done, which I haven't assembled the blends, so I kind of just worked around those elements, and that was 4 days. So my plan for this is to give it 4 days a month up through October, so that's 40 days total, of which 4 have passed, so 36 more. Frankly, I don't think that will be enough time to finish this piece, but it will certainly be enough time to make a good chunk of progress, so we'll see. I do really love working on it, but I didn't realize really what I was getting into until I started stitching it. It's a very, very detailed thing. Lots of fractional stitches, lots of color changes. It's a lot, you know? But it will be pretty spectacular when it's done. So I will have fun working on it this year. then, let's see, Fall Fairy. So I will insert a pic. Here she is. Fall Fairy, dimensions gold, stitched on 16 count light blue Aida cloth. She was one of my year WIPs last year. I'll insert a pic of what she looked like at the beginning of the year. And I did make some good progress. She's about half done now. My plan for this is to give it 40 days this year and hopefully finish by November. So I will be working on her sort of like year round. I will put her in with some of the full coverage fanatics, stitch alongs and stuff like that. So I started the back stitch on the first page. You see these like leaves here? Those are back stitched, and some of the vines and stuff, branches are back stitched over there, but there's a lot of back stitching to do on this. So I think when I take it out again, I might just work on back stitch. I don't know. That's not going to get me like a great stitch count, but you know, it needed to be done. So, and with the full coverage fanatics, the only stitch along where you actually have to do a certain number of stitches is the by the numbers event, which is 1,200 a month. So for the other ones, and there are different monthly sales and quarterly sales, there is no specific number requirement. So I think I have planned to work on her again in February or something. Yeah, I want to work on her for the air sale, the elemental air sale, the quarterly sale that's going on in the full coverage fanatics group for the first quarter. The quarter that began January 1st and will end March 31st. So I want to work on her for that. Will 40 days be enough to finish? Let's see. I don't know how long I worked on her last year. I think it was around 25 days or something, and that was enough time to like, yeah, I think 40 days should be enough to finish this. Basically to stitch the lower half and do all the back stitch and the French knots and the beading and all that. It would be so nice to have that done. This is my second oldest WIP. I started it in 2014, I think, or was it 15? Let's see. My next like finished target is the Charm Santa. Excuse me for a sec. So I have been working on this currently, and I had planned to give it 4 days in January, of which 2 have passed already. So basically I started, this is the midline of the chart right about there. So I started there and worked with all the threads I had parked, and then I pulled out some more threads and started stitching more. This is on 32 count raw gold Belfast. So sparkly. Sorry for the see-through. Yeah, so this is like, I started it in Mania last year. And I didn't work on it a whole heck of a lot last year, just like less than a week or something. So my plan for this is to give it 25 days, of which 2 have passed already, so 23 more, and hopefully that will be enough time to at least get it past 75%. So what I mean by that is finish page 1, all that stuff, finish page 2 up to there, and then do page 3 or page 4. So I like to work in quadrants. Basically, I start in the middle and I work down to the left corner or the right corner, depending on the design. And then I just sort of attack it in quarters. So this one, I really love it. I mean, I'm having a lot of fun working on it. My goal was to just get like 1,200 stitches, and I did that, but I think I'm going to keep at it for the days I had planned, 4 days, and see how far I can get. So Santa's coat on the bottom there is done. The only thing left is all the background, and this brown thing is like his walking stick or whatever that I started stitching, and the sack of toys and apples and stuff that he's holding, which is up there. So this one is very detailed, lots of blends and fractionals and color changes and all that stuff. The design is from the Charms of Christmas book by Leisure Arts. It's by Sandy Orton, and it's called Father Christmas, but I like to call it Charm Santa because he's going to have all sorts of charms on him when he's done, which I have to source. Okay, so that was like maybe like 16, 17 projects or something. We're getting up there. What else do I have? Alright, here is something that I intend to finish in December. This is the mini mandala. Sal by Brodeurs Bresson, I think it is. And it's free. So each mandala is 40 stitches square, and you can connect them all or do them individually, and yeah, that's about it. So this was the January part, and I did finish it. So I'm stitching this on 22 count hardanger fabric, 2/2. I wanted it to be, you know, big so you could see all the detail, and I think that looks pretty good. So the numbers I stitched over there are the the color floss that I intend to use. It's going to be like a gradient, graded black going down. So yeah, it's going to be like 3 across and then 4 rows. So is that right? Yeah, 3 columns, 4 rows. I had a lot of fun stitching this. It only took like a couple hours to stitch, and that was with a bunch of interruptions. So I think if you were dedicated, you could probably like get this out in like an hour, maybe 90 minutes or something. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. My plan for this is to give it, well, 12 days over the year, 1 day a month, and finish it by December. And then there's one more piece I have to show you. This is Winnie the Pooh by MCG Textiles. I started this in April of last year, and I worked on it like about 2.5 days a month on average, and I did like 21,000 stitches or something. It's about 40%, 42% finished or something right now. So this is stitched on 28 count Monaco ecru using the chart from the kit DMC conversion for the floss. And of course the fabric was substituted as well. And my plan for this is to continue at it a couple days a month and basically aim for 2 columns every month. So this patchy business over here, that column is like half done. So when I take this out in January, I don't know how much I'm going to stitch. I might do like columns and finish that one, or maybe just 1 column and finish that one. It depends on how I'm feeling, I guess. But this is not a finished goal for the 2018, because if I continue at that pace, that's not enough progress to finish it next year. I'll get close, but it won't actually be finished. So if I keep up the pace, I might aiming for like a, I think February 2019 finish or something like that, or March or something. Yeah, I really love this piece. It's for my son. I just enjoy like going at the pace that I go. Basically, a couple days a month is good enough for me. I'm not like in a huge hurry to finish it. So yeah. Right, so in my little planner, I've got 30 days planned on it this year, of which none have been stitched yet. So yeah, I will give it some time in January, but haven't got there yet. So so that was it. That was like my 18, 19 WIPs or whatever. Well, some of them are like not, they're temporary UFOs, you know, like the Mill Hill houses, for example. There's only one that's an active WIP, the general store. The other two they're technically started, but I will get to them in their turn. My goal for that piece is to do one building a quarter, which is what I did last year, and it worked out well. And it's the same thing with the boot club. I've got like a couple of things started, but my goal is to just do one word a month, and you know, I don't even consider that really an active WIP now because I finished the spooky, which is my goal for January. So those are my plans for the year of WIPs, and maybe you're wondering like what all these days that I plan add up to. So the answer to that is 332 days. So there's 365 days in the year. 332 doesn't exactly leave me a lot of wiggle room. So I'm feeling pretty like dedicated to my WIPs. I did all those crazy starts in January. So January 1 through the 11th, I started like 10 projects or something. And now I really want to WIP down. So I started the year with 9 WIPs, and I'm hoping to end with 5 or fewer. We'll see how that goes. Basically, I can do it if I just stitch my WIPs and don't start a bunch of things. They can't be finished. So that's the plan, to work the WIPs and WIP down and all that stuff. I am really trying to step off the whole like serial starter thing, which may sound crazy since I just did that crazy starting in January. But that was like, well, most of those were small projects, you know, and they were all things that I do intend to like work on significantly and in most cases finish this year. For me, like, starts are cool as long as you work on them. I just don't want to have like another year like I had last year where I start things like, you know, for example, Water Goddess that doesn't get any more attention beyond like a day, you know. To me, that's just like, there's no point, you know. Like, I want to stitch my projects. I don't want to have them just like roll up in my cabinet, you know. So. And if I get down to 5 WIPs, that would be awesome because that means that I could basically work on every one of them each month. Well, when I say 5 WIPs, I'm not counting, for example, my Mill Hill Villas. I mean, that's separate, you know, that's like a small thing or whatever. What I mean by like 5 WIPs is 5 WIPs that are like getting the free rotation or whatever, you know. I think one of the problems now is I have 3 full coverage WIPs in my rotation: Winnie the Pooh, Charm Santa, and Fall Fairy. So I think that's just like a bit too much for me. I do enjoy full coverage. I get into it and I get in a groove and I bang out those stitches and I love it. But at the same time, those projects just take so long to stitch. I don't really want 3 full coverage WIPs in my rotation. I think 1 or 2 max out of like 10 would be good. So one of my goals is definitely to finish the Fall Fairy, and if not get Charm Santa finished, at least get him to the point where I could finish him fairly easily next year. So those are my plans. Thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for liking. And I will see you guys in a couple weeks for a January review update, etc. Ta-ta!